Hi, I'm Briana Hetherington.
I'm Jen Hatcher. And I'm Kat Gottlieb.
Welcome to the Conscious Creator Community Podcast. We are over the moon excited to share our wisdom, experiences, and valuable insights to becoming the best version of yourself.
Are you feeling stuck in a cycle of putting things off? You're not alone, and it's not your fault. Today, we're unpacking 5 powerful neuroscience-backed hacks to overcome procrastination and get back into alignment with your purpose. Welcome back to another episode of the Conscious Creator Community Podcast. I'm your host, Briana Hetherington, accompanied by 2 of my favorite humans, Kat Gottlieb and Jen Hatcher. And as always, we are so grateful that you are here. Not just tuning in, but showing up for yourself, for your growth, and for the powerful creator you already are deep inside. Today, we're diving into a topic I know so many of us struggle with: procrastination. You know the feeling. The task list is so long, the pressure is real, and yet you find yourself scrolling, snacking, cleaning the junk drawer, anything but doing the thing. Let me say this with compassion. Procrastination isn't laziness, it's self-protection. It's your nervous system trying to avoid perceived discomfort, whether that's fear, failure, self-doubt, judgment, or simply overwhelm. The good news, once we start to understand the why behind procrastination, we begin to shift it, not by force, but with gentleness, self-awareness, and intention. Today, I'm sharing 5 simple, powerful hacks that have helped me and so many of my clients get out of the loop of delay and get back into inspired action. And I'll be inviting my co-hosts to share their own experiences and reflections too, because procrastination looks different for everyone. So let's dive in. Jen, will you talk to us a little bit about hack number 1?
Absolutely. Okay, friends. So for hack number 1, we're going to talk about taking something really big and making it small. So you're going to break those tasks into micro goals. You've heard this a lot of different ways. You've heard you can't boil the ocean. You can't move a mountain. Well, technically, if you try to do it all at once, no, you can't. But if you break it into itty bitty pieces, you bet your bottom you can. So let's take those big inspiring goals and make them not feel paralyzing. Okay? So instead of taking the mountain, we're going to take pebbles. We're shrinking the mountain into pebbles. So let's think about this in multiple ways. Let's say you have a big, audacious goal to write a book. I do too, by the way. Let's talk about that another time. But you're not going to sit down and write a book. It's just not happening. And if your brain starts to process everything that goes into it, you might like have that paralysis analysis of where it feels too big. So put it into something different. Maybe you're going to outline chapter 1, or maybe you're going to brainstorm titles. That's an easy little nugget you can do to get towards that bigger goal. Let's take another one that people often procrastinate on. I need to clean my house, right? Some people love cleaning. Most people don't. So instead of being like, I need to clean my house and I need to give hours to it and all of those things that feel daunting and draining, even the way I say it, right? Instead of taking that, take a little nugget. I need to put the laundry in the basket. I need to sort the socks. I'm going to unload and reload the dishwasher. Break it down into micro tasks. And the last one I'm going to give you on this is another one that people procrastinate on constantly: exercising, right? So you might have a goal to do, let's say, 100 squats today. Yes, you can hammer out 100 squats all at once. But if you do 10 squats at a time, or let's say every time you get up to go to the bathroom, you come out of the bathroom before you sit back down at your computer chair, you bust out 10 or 15, you can still get those 100 squats done without making the commitment to do it all at once. So the whole goal here with breaking it into micro goals is that you want to give yourself tiny wins so that you can get to moving that mountain and you're building the momentum bit by bit. It's really important that energy follows your action, or that you remember that energy follows the action, not the other way around.
Love it. Thank you, Jen. Hack number 1. All right, moving on to hack number 2. Use the 5-second rule. This one comes from our favorite girl, Mel Robbins, and it's brilliant in its simplicity. When the urge to act hit, count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and move. Stand up, open the file, send the message, hit play. It stops the brain's hesitation loop and propels you into motion because action disrupts overthinking. Now, why does this work? The 5-second rule interrupts the habit loop in the brain's habit hub and gives the prefrontal cortex a chance to engage. Counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 creates a psychological pattern interrupt, shifting you from autopilot avoidance to conscious action. You bypass the emotional resistance and move straight into a decision-making state. Once physical movement starts, even standing up or opening your laptop, the brain shifts from passive to active mode, triggering a cascade of engagement signals in the motor cortex. Action disrupts avoidance and activates executive function. So, hack number 2, use the 5-second rule.
That was awesome. And I will take on hack number 3. And that is to reward yourself for progress, not just the outcome. You see, most of us wait to reward ourselves until a project is fully completed. But your brain, as Brie was describing, it responds better to immediate positive reinforcement. So you can train your brain to crave progress by giving yourself mini rewards along the way. It works through dopamine, the brain's motivational chemical. It's released when you anticipate a reward, not just when you get it. So by linking small wins to small rewards, you create what Brie was talking about, that loop of positive association with productivity, not just completion. So some examples of that would be like, okay, so if you've been delaying writing that book, like Jen was talking about, you create your outline, right? And then you give yourself a reward. Maybe it's your favorite tea, you take a break, or if you set a timer and set it for 25 minutes and you say, okay, I'm going to focus on this task for 25 minutes, and then I'm going to take a 5-minute break and then do something fun. You know, if you have to do something like, I don't know, like write an unpleasant email and you've just been kind of putting it off, well, associate some favorite activity that you do when you need some empowerment. You can light like your favorite candle. I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but I usually have candles lit. I do that on a daily basis. It's part of my ritual in the morning. So you can do something like that. And that helps you just remind yourself that this is good, this is pleasant, and it just helps you put you into that mindset. So what you want to do is celebrate consistency and not just completion. This builds momentum and it turns work into something that your brain begins to associate with joy.
I love that. Okay, I am taking the next one. And the next one is all about scheduling your priorities. So, team, I specifically asked for this one because this was really, really hard for me. as a mom and an entrepreneur and doing 10,000 things at once, right? Schedule your priority. And your priority, by the way, should be you. In any way, shape, or form, it should be you. So when you're making that time to schedule your priority, you also need to make a contract with yourself that this is going to be a non-negotiable. I am not moving it. I mean, life happens, or maybe extenuating circumstances, but it's like that 3 to 5% chance that you might move it. So let me give you an example. You want to write that book, right? Schedule yourself in time where you are only working on that book. That's your time to work on that book. And it doesn't have to be monumentous. Maybe it's 10 or 15 minutes at a time, but that is your time to work on your creative thing you want to work on. By having that in your schedule, it allows you to not continue to procrastinate on it. It also takes away that excuse of, I don't have time, because you scheduled it in. You do have time. You have time to work on it. It's in your calendar. Let me give you a personal example. For me, I was challenged to meditate every day. And I found, thank you, Bree, I found that I really enjoy meditating in the morning. It sets my day up really, really well. And my preferred time to meditate is after everybody else is out of the house. So it's a very specific window that I found is my ideal time. But guess what? That's also bumping into the workday time because I have coworkers on the East Coast and they're an hour ahead and all of that. I wiped the slate, team, and I said, I need this time for me to show up as my best self. I'm not going to put it off. I'm not going to procrastinate. In my schedule right now, every single morning, there is a block of Gen time starting at 7:30 a.m. where I live. And I have it blocked so that I can meditate during that time. If I want to try to squeeze a workout in, I could do that during that time. And I had to own it and say to my coworkers proudly, that is my time that I take so I can show up better as the day goes on. And I have zero shame in doing that and am even encouraged to do so. So once we get past kind of our own head trash with scheduling in time, it goes so much smoother. Do yourself the favor, take away the excuses, schedule in the time for whatever that priority to you is. And you are the priority.
I love that. You know, I think we all need to hear that more often. You are the priority. And if it's something important enough that you want it in your schedule, then respect your task enough and respect yourself enough to say, I know this is what's really important, so I need to do it.
Yes.
I think that's so empowering. And now I'm going to take on the last hack number 5, and that is identify the real reason you're avoiding some task with procrastination. You know, and I think it was said earlier, but it bears repeating. Procrastination is not laziness. It is often a signal. You know, instead of judging yourself harshly, come at it from curiosity and without judgment. You know, what is your avoidance trying to protect you from? And some common root causes of procrastination are, and everybody experiences this. I don't care who you are, how accomplished you are. We all experience these if we're humans. One is fear of failure. It's like, what if what I'm doing is not good enough? And that's connected to perfectionism. Like, I can't start unless I know it will be flawless. But guess what? Nobody knows what they're doing. So you just got to start. And then another reason is like lack of clarity. Like if you haven't done appropriate planning and prioritizing, you might not know where to begin. So if you don't know where to begin, that might be where you need to begin. Like figure it out, figure out a plan of action and break it down into daily or small chunks of activities. So all you have to do is this little chunk. And then another one that often happens is disconnection. Like when the task that you have assigned yourself, you're just not aligned with it, or you just honestly don't care about it. And that, my friends, is a big one that I've learned in my own personal life. There were so many shoulda, woulda, coulda goals that I've had, tasks that I thought I had to do. And one of the biggest personal development moments for me was when I could say to myself, that is not my priority. And that really helps you align to like your honest feelings about things. You know, if we have to do laundry because you do need clean clothes, but you know what? You don't have to get it all done today. Or, you know, sometimes you just go to Target and buy some new stuff. That also works. But you want to ask yourself, okay, when you are struggling with procrastination, just ask yourself, like, if I weren't afraid, what would I do next? And what this often reveals where your resistance is like rooted and like a gentle step forward, like what would feel doable and what would feel good if you could just get that to start. It's important to remember procrastination is often a pattern of protection. It's not defiance. So the moment you identify the real reason, you can reclaim your power and shift it. And along that lines, I have a little exercise you can use. It's a 5-minute exercise. It's very easy and to get clear about what it is that's holding you back. It's called Name It, Shift It, Move It. And the first step, just take 1 or 2 minutes and ask, what task am I avoiding right now? Okay, name it. And then ask, what emotion or fear comes up when I am thinking about doing it? And write it your honest answer, like without judgment. Again, like no judgment. The most important thing is that you're really honest with yourself. You don't have to show it to anybody else, but be honest with yourself. Okay, step 2 is shift it. And it just takes another minute or 2 to do this. Ask yourself, if I believed in my ability to do this, how would it make me feel? Okay. And that can be really an empowering, and then create an empowering belief like, I don't have to be perfect to make progress, or taking 1 step is enough for today. And then the third step is move it. And this just takes a minute or so. Take 1 micro action right now, like open the document, draft a sentence, set a 5-minute timer. Write that email subject list if that's the thing that you've been avoiding. Whatever feels like just enough to break through and move forward. And then give yourself that micro reward that we talked about before. And that is hack number 5.
Yeah, well, one thing that stuck out to me, Kat, that you had mentioned is really being in touch with like how you feel. And what I recognize with procrastination is when I like procrastinate on things that need to get done, like my anxiety is through the roof. It's really difficult for me to be present in the moment because I just keep thinking about it. So it's like, I just want to go do it, or at least do a micro action to get it done. So I think just having that self-awareness, like what's going to make you feel good, even if it's something tiny, like go after it and just do something that's going to help you feel better, because no one wants to sit in it and then mellow and be in that avoidance state.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest lessons that I've learned and also tried to teach my kids about that is it gets worse the longer you avoid something. It doesn't get better. And we think that avoidance is going to make us avoid the task. No, it just makes things worse. But my personal experience with the reward idea was very foreign to me, because I grew up in a family where we didn't do a lot of celebration, and you certainly didn't do a lot of self-rewards. Like that was just not part of the culture back then, especially in the culture that I was raised in. So the idea of self-rewarding was very much tied to like, that's very self-centered, that's selfish, people don't do that. And it took me a long time in my life to get okay with saying that giving myself a reward is good, not have any kind of weird shame twisted into this idea that my brain likes dopamine. It likes a reward, and then there's nothing wrong with that. And so for me, getting over that thing helped me address these ways, to get out of procrastination. Do you guys have a similar experience?
So yes, and before I jump into that, you both said things that I want to comment on. Brie, you had mentioned the loop, and you had just mentioned the feels with the anxiety. And I think that's exactly it, right? A lot of times people get stuck in these patterns, myself included, where I have so much anxiety, I'm avoiding that thing. But the more I avoid it, Kat, like you just said, the higher my anxiety goes. And it's almost like you start avoiding multiple things because, and it almost snowballs into this big, huge avoidance thing, whereas if you just take those micro chips. I'm literally picturing her like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs with like their pickaxe. Like if you just take your little pickaxe and you chip away at the pieces, those little pieces do add up to a lot and you feel so much better. But when you're in that loop, sometimes it's hard to connect. That's the key to feeling better. And so I just wanted to call that out.
You have to create a little sticker that's a pickaxe now that you have the white pickaxe concept.
All right, I'm going to write down
I
pickaxe.
did out for you.
I'm probably spelling it wrong, but we know what I mean. So for me, yes, it was that whole protection thing and everything that comes from there. And definitely never ever celebrating any wins because that was being boastful. So,
Yeah.
we just guilt and shame ourselves into continuing on what we have to do and try to continue to do better and run ourselves into the ground doing that. Like break that thought process fast. But one of my biggest paralysis, and I do use the word paralysis with procrastination, was perfectionism. I was scared, but I was immobilized by all of the pieces that had to be perfect to where I wouldn't even start, right? Like I had the vision of my book, but I didn't know how to execute it. So I couldn't start it because I couldn't deliver this perfect end product. And it was like, I'm on screen. So, but like it was too big of a gap for me to even get there. And so perfectionism was it and is an enemy of progress. And so for me, I got stuck in that perfectionist piece of it a lot. That was a big part of my procrastination.
Yeah, I think my procrastination, I just realized like when I'm in that avoidance of like, oh, I didn't respond to that email or, oh, I totally forgot to send that to a client.
Yeah.
I realized that those micro tiny actions got me where I needed to be, because even if I just put in like the subject line, then boom, I was completing it. If I didn't, the result of that was me at 2 a.m. like, oh my God, I didn't do it. And I'm playing it over in my head. I'm typing out the email in my head. And now I am in a complete anxious state. And the first thing I do when I wake up traditionally is I want to go exercise. And instead of that, I'm at my computer, like I need to get it done. And I'm in that state. So I've just learned like, okay, I need to take a tiny micro step, even if, like you mentioned, cleaning the house, right? Like it's very difficult for me to be in chaos and dirty house when I'm going to work. So it's as simple as just take that one dish out of the dishwasher. That's going to trigger you to go ahead and take all the dishes out. Even though you don't feel like it, it's that little action that gets you to that next action that leads you to getting it done.
I call that like conning myself when I'm like, I don't really want to do this. And then I say to myself, oh, you only have to take out one dish. You open up that dishwasher, you take one dish out. Okay, I might as well empty the whole thing.
I'm already here.
Yeah.
So, Bree, you totally just triggered a cleaning hack that I know. And I don't know if it's right for procrastination necessarily, but I'm going to throw it on here because you and I both, and Kat as well, like environment is a really big deal to me. And so when my environment's messy, it's very distracting for me. And so cleaning hack, not related to procrastination, but it could be, is that this also works if you're having company over, by the way, and you're like, oh my gosh, I have 5 minutes to make my house look presentable. What do I do? If your glass and your trash are tidied, everything else there's like some science behind this. So like make sure your mirrors don't have smudges on them. Or if you're in my house and there's dog nose prints all over your glass door, get those off the glass door and go in your powder room and empty your trashes. Like if your glass and your trash is tidy, everything else looks cleaner.
I never heard that before.
Yeah.
I love that.
New
Glass
fun
and
fact.
Yeah.
New fun fact. Yes.
And you know that other,
Glass and trash.
I love that. Glass and trash. And the other thing I've learned through the years is I just try to have daily practices. Like I know the things that I'm working on, and I try to get it out of, okay, this is a special situation, and make it into a daily practice. And so I try to look at those areas that I do procrastinate on and troubleshoot them and break them down into just, okay, I just do this every day. I can just go, into like an alpha mode where I just do it. I just do it. I just do it, and that keeps me away from going, oh my God, I have to undertake this brand new thing that I'm doing.
Well, I absolutely love that. And I cannot wait to do that exercise. So thank you, ladies, so much. There you have it. 5 mindful, heart-centered hacks to help you overcome procrastination and reconnect with your power. Hack number 1, break task into micro goals. Hack number 2, use the 5-second rule. Hack number 3, reward yourself for progress. Hack number 4, schedule your priorities. Hack number 5, identify the root cause of avoidance. I invite you to pick one thing you've been putting off. Apply just one of these tools and see how your energy shifts. Journal the progress, celebrate the wins, and above all, be gentle with yourself. This is not about perfectionism. This is about giving yourself permission. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend who might need a loving nudge out of the procrastination loop. And be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode of the Conscious Creator Community Podcast. You are not here to play small. You are here to co-create a life that reflects the power, peace, and possibility that already lives within you.